It's been a week. That's the best way I can describe how it's been since we released our game M198 on April 20th. So a little bit more than a week ago at this point. And as you can see, it hasn't been going great. Honestly, would you believe if I say that right now we're actually doing better than before? I want to talk about this game's launch. This is not going to be a real like post-mortem. This is not going to be a real financial deep dive numbers video either, or like why I think the game did or didn't perform well. It's just me talking about how the last week has been. Of course, I will show you this because otherwise you will club me to death in terms of revenue numbers. M198 lifetime gross of 65k. I'm mainly looking at this number net revenue. So this is the number 53,000 that Steam is going to take 30% from, if I'm correct. And then basically whatever that is left, so it's going to be around $35,000, I guess. That is what we're going to be paid out by the end of May. So a little bit more than now. 11,800 units, 9.7% Steam refund rate. And right now we're sitting at 43,696. Nice. Wish lists. We released this game with 27,000 wishes, so we definitely got some pretty good growth, I would say. But let's talk about the launch of this game and kind of how it went. So to tell that story of how the launch went, we need to look at the Steam charts because as you can see here, also not ideal. We'll dive into it. So we released the game at 8 p.m. Japan time, which is where I'm at, 11 UTC. And then very quickly the game boomed. It was a very good explosive launch, I would say. We got our 10 reviews extremely fast, thanks to, for example, you guys, because we did a live stream where we released the game live. We just talked about it, and we got some of our audience to go and give us a review. It shot up very fast. Like this was midnight. Like I was trying to sleep at this point, and then it went down again. And these waves are normal. Like you can see these waves here as well. That's kind of just also how it coincides with the time in the United States, because most of our game is from, like most of our players are from the United States. And you know, when it's nighttime in the United States, there's going to be less people playing the game. Then day 2 goes in, we go up pretty nicely again, 650 concurrent users. This one spike is just because Steam went down for like maintenance for like 15 minutes or something. You can ignore that. And then it goes down again. And I think close to this point was when our game hit mixed reviews. So here we're currently at 66%. Mixed reviews is if you are under 70%, but I think over like 50%, you end up in the mixed category and you get the orange kiss of death, however you want to call it. Until here you see like this sharp decline. What happened here? We got kicked out of new and trending. So new and trending, for those who don't know, it's, if I just go over to Steam, it is this section here at the bottom where you can see like, oh, here are the games that are currently trending, similar to popular upcoming, except this gets even more wish lists, views, purchases, whatever, basically. We've gotten a lot of impressions. We got about 8.5 million impressions from showing up in new and trending. However, once your game hits a mixed review, you basically get kicked instantly out of new and trending, and that's a very big source of traffic for your game that just disappears. That's why it very much flatlined as well. And our review score just kept going down. You can see that here. This is the graph day by day, how our reviews actually came in. So launch day, we got 84%, 84 positive, 24 negative. And then the second and third day, definitely, like percentually, we went from 78% positive to 59% positive to 41% positive to 36% positive. Like once the initial launch window bottomed down, people did not like the game. It was rough, okay? I didn't see this coming. I'm gonna be real with you here. As you can see here, we did change things around a little bit so far. This was extremely accurate for me. So what happened in the last week? We released the game on Monday evening. Tuesday, we got like some reviews. I think we dropped down to like 80% or something. And I was like, denial. I'm like, what do you mean? This is stupid. And then once we hit mixed, I was just angry. Once we were at the 70%, because a lot of the reviews, I don't want to dive in like too deep to like the reviews, but a lot of the reviews I feel were unfair. Like these are like okay actually, but like a lot of reviews that we saw as well were like 10 hours here. I think some of them I responded to. This is a weird ordering. Anyways, there were a lot of reviews. There was one that said like, oh, 30-minute gameplay, and then the review was like 10 hours played, genuinely. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you leave it open? Or like, it doesn't make sense. I was extremely mad and I was like, fuck all of these players. I hate all of them. They don't deserve my game. You know, I was angry. And that was my Wednesday and Thursday, I would say. The bargaining stage, I kind of feel like I skipped. And then Thursday, definitely the depression day was Thursday, Friday, where both me and William, the two developers on this game, we didn't want to look at this anymore. Like at this point, every time we opened up Steam, there were new Steam discussions about like the game being bad. There were new reviews, like our review score kept dropping and all of that. And we're like, okay, we just ignore it. We just don't look at Steam anymore because it's doing more harm than good. Like we didn't want to open the game anymore. It just wasn't like all of our mood and like energy to work on the game was just murdered. Because I feel still to this day that the game didn't deserve a 59%. That was the lowest it went. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got into the acceptance, where Friday afternoon, I think, was like the first time I was like, okay, it's been a few days now. Let's make a plan. I actually do have, I can probably pull it up here. I went out, I went on a long walk, and I was like, okay, how do we save MMO 98? Here, this. I mean, you probably can't read, but like, it was like the point where I read every single review. And as you can see here, we had a lot of negative reviews. I read every single one of them. I still think some of them are absolute bullshit, I guess. But I was like, okay, what are the main recurring trends? The main recurring trends that I wrote down was that one, people were complaining that the game wasn't engaging for long enough. So for example, they were like, hey, after 30 minutes, I've seen everything I wanted to see in the game, and I feel like I paid too much for that, basically. Another one was that the pacing was too bad, of like everything is front loaded and then the game just falls off a cliff once again after 30 minutes. And then the fact that there were not enough mechanics and people expected a way longer game. Those were the three main problems. In terms of bugs and like, oh, it's unpolished, there wasn't really much. I'm very happy with that. I think the game we delivered, like maybe not game design wise, but game quality wise, was really solid. So then, okay, I wrote down on my big list, what are all of the things we can change? And we ended up just getting to work for the weekend, basically reworking the entire game's balancing, adding new mechanics, expanding upon them, a bunch of other stuff. And that leads to, let me pull it up here, our service pack update. We stick to the Windows theming. So we released this one yesterday, about 24 hours from when I originally recorded, or like about 24 hours ago from when I recorded this video, with a lot of changes. We did some world upgrades. We changed like how research storage works. We had some achievement issues. And I also made a little dev update video that got a surprising high amount of views, and then a full change log. And this was the saving grace, because we have been slowly ticking up now, as like I said, you can see here in the reviews, but people being like, hey, maybe these developers aren't that bad. Because I also got so many comments of like, the developers are pure scum and just pump and dumping. And it's like, I'm just a boy. I don't know. That was never my goal here. So it felt very aggressive, or like, you know, I wanted to personally go and fight every single person who left the review, which I know, guys, isn't ideal, but that is what happens, I guess, when your game just goes and Titanic modes into your ratings. I'm very happy. The new version that we pushed does seem to solve a lot of issues, and a lot of people still like the game as well, I would say. Like, they come into our Discord, they're like, hey, I enjoy the game. I do enjoy these things as well. But this kind of made it impossible for me to enjoy this. Like, this number kind of doesn't feel like something worth celebrating right now, even though it's the highest we've ever been by far. Like, so this is like 65K like lifetime gross revenue, right? More than half of our studio, like we, over our entire lifetime, have made $123,000. So literally all of our other games combined in the last few years still earned us less than what we've earned so far in the first week of MMO 98. And we're still pulling in like okay numbers. Like yesterday was $1,000, $1,600. The day before was $2,000. It's definitely slowed down now, but it's like, you know, this is 1 week after launch. We're already pretty set. Like, the game took us 100 days to develop, give or take. I'm going to be making a video later this week probably about how we actually made the game and like what we did with those 100 days, basically. I can't be angry or like sad about the game. It's not like we spent 8 years of our life on the game and then got these numbers. So that kind of like does make things better, I guess, but it also still sucks. My goal at this point, and I've been responding also to a lot of the negative comments, is I want to get this game to 70%. I think this game, 70% definitely deserves it. Are there problems maybe with the late game? I don't know if they're like problems. I think they're expectation problems, definitely. Yeah, but I don't think they deserved, especially the 59% rating. This is also why I'm like, this is not a post-mortem, because I think I am still very emotionally riled up from getting all of that feedback, all of those comments and things like that, which also makes me not be in the most clear headspace. Like, probably there are a bunch of other things that right now I'm still overlooking, things that we could have done better, that we could have done different, but it's not the point right now that I want to look at those things, because I'm still trying to recover from the launch, basically. And then once that's over, then we can look more, we can sit down and be like, okay, everything that happened now, what happened, and how do we do it again? I think that's the one thing that I always say to William as well, the other guy that I developed with. Last year, we made a kind of a similar thing, Overtime Anomaly. Overtime Anomaly was a horror game. An Anomaly horror game, it's sitting at 84%. It's okay. I mean, this was nowhere near as successful. This game has grossed like $6,000 or something. This game had problems. We knew that, because we kind of didn't fully understand the genre, because this was the first time we made an Anomaly game. So 84% positive, and there were some issues. So what did we do then? We were just like, okay, we're going to learn from that. We're going to make a better game. And that's how we made Kyoto Anomaly, which is at 98% positive ratings, which I think this is a game that we can be proud of. And that's what I tell him now as well. Like, okay, MO98, the first time we make an incremental game, we've learned a lot. I think the next game is going to be only better. So guess what the next game is we're going to make? It's another incremental game where now we have already made some changes to like our future games game design based on the things that we've learned. For example, with how we're going to approach demos, how we're going to approach ending conditions, prestiging, and all of those things, where we tried some stuff and we failed some stuff as well. I'm going to be honest with that. But it's like, I'm not going to give up on making games at this point. I think we've shown to ourselves definitely that, hey, we can actually make pretty good games. Review score aside. Okay. I just want to make more games, and I want to make better games. So that's kind of the thought process there. We've been pushing like a little bit more updates as well, just for MO98, like some small bug fixes right now. So if you haven't picked it up and you want to give it a go, I mean, definitely you can give it a shot as well. But that's why it's kind of been a weird week for me, because like I said, I've been taking my depression naps for like 3 hours during the day, because also like I couldn't do like content. I couldn't put myself behind a camera or like do any live streams, because it's like, what's the point? Or not like, what's the point? Like, I guess what I could say now is that I have something in common with Gavin, the developer of Choo Choo Charles and Cuff Bust. And I was like, kind of like, I understand it. Maybe I also just want to disappear from the internet for having made a game that is like also 50. I think Cuff Bust is at like 54% or something. I'm like, we are inching dangerously close to Cuff Bust. And I want to ignore that. Yeah, so it's 54% for Cuff Bust. We were at 59%. I think if we hit 54%, maybe I would have just disappeared from the internet for a month or something like that. I think that's kind of just the update for now. I'm still recovering from the launch. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know if like the backseat commenting also, I don't know if this is the point in time to do it yet. We're gonna just see what the future brings. But I wanted to just give you guys this update. I didn't want to completely disappear from the face of the earth. So I hope this still gave you some more information, a little bit more behind the scenes. Like I said, we're going to be making full dedicated videos, diving into all of the sales numbers. Where do our like sales come from? What's the impact from bundles? What will we do different? All of those things. We're going to be making more videos about this game in the coming weeks and months, definitely. I just wanted to give you the first like, what the fuck just happened video. So we're still on the road to building $1 million studio in 2026, I would say. Could MO98 have been bigger? Definitely. I think MO98 did somewhat flop, however you want to call it. At the end of the day, if you made 55K in 100 days, is it a flop? I don't know. It's also going to keep making us money when we go on sales and all of that, because we have so many wish lists. It's just not as good as I hoped it would have been. So thank you for your understanding on that regard. Otherwise, I mean, give the game a go if you're interested. I guess it's still on discount for 1 week. And yeah, otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.